Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god.
Deep in the jungle, where nothing that lives is safe.
You lose it here, you're in a world of hurt.
An elite rescue squad
You're bleeding, man. I ain't got time to bleed.
is being led by the ultimate warrior.
We need the best. That's why you're here.
But now,
What's got Billy so spooked? There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man.
they're up against the ultimate enemy.
Holy Mother of God.
We're all we've got. It's up to us. I think I have something. Maybe we can use it to blow Homelander's fucking brains out.
What's this?
Makes you a soup for 24 hours.
This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by JEMS Art Studio. This podcast is also brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to our Organized Chaos podcast. You once again have chosen wisely, choosing the very best podcast in history of all existence. I'm joined by Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have been enjoying popcorn from my exclusive AMC Black Widow popcorn bucket, which is quite delicious.
Oh, that's awesome.
yes.
That is awesome. You see, I wanted to get a Thor one, but they were out of them at the theater I went to.
Oh, that is very disappointing.
Yeah, they had like a blanket, but I didn't get the blanket.
Oh.
No.
It's very sad.
Blanket wouldn't have helped the comfort. But, I do have some thoughts on this new movie, but
Yeah.
we will get into that.
Yes, this week we are covering the new Thor movie. We will also be covering 1987's Predator, and when we get to it, we'll discuss why, because there is a movie coming out that has gotten some buzz, which will be interesting to talk about as well. And then we're going to be talking about the first 4 episodes of Season 3 of The Boys. Season 3 did just end, but we are going to be talking about the first 4 episodes, and it's a chore not to watch the rest of the season knowing that it's out, but it's like I want to watch these 4 so I can talk about freely, and then we'll get to the rest next week.
Yeah.
But yes, that is on the plan for today. Before we get to that, though, we thought it'd be fun to go ahead. Well, talk about some news items that have popped up recently. Bobby, I understand an actor you enjoy has passed.
Yes, Tony Cicero passed away recently. He was most famously in the film. Well, he was on the show The Sopranos. He played Paulie Gualtieri or Paulie Walnuts. Definitely, probably one of my more favorite characters in the show. He passed away on the 8th of July, over this past weekend. Tony also made a lot of small appearances in various he was also in Goodfellas too for a few scenes early in the beginning. He was one of the guys hanging outside of the cab stand when Henry was a kid. He also was in the short-lived Netflix series Lilyhammer for a very brief time, and also had various appearing roles throughout a lot of different work, mostly within the film, like the mafia genre of films. Mostly just because Tony, he also had a history within the mafia and organized crime.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he had also made numerous appearances in Woody Allen films as well. He was aged 79 when he passed. Let me find it here.
Although I do feel like we've been losing mafia actors recently, because not that long ago, Ray Liotta passed. Like, that was like a month ago.
Yeah, Ray Liotta passed.
That surprised me. I don't even think he was in his 70s yet, was he? Was he in his 60s?
No, I don't think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cicero, he grew up in New York City, and he was born on July 29th, 1942. So he grew up within the city. He grew up Catholic, Italian Catholic. But let's see, let me try and see exactly where they talk about his organized crime roles. All right. In 1970, he was arrested at a restaurant and found with a .32 caliber revolver on his person. In 71, he was indicted for extortion, coercion, and felony weapons possession, and convicted and sentenced to 4 years in prison, which he served 20 months in Sing Sing for. I know that he had done a documentary in 1989 called The Big Bang, which was by James Tobach, where he discussed a lot of stuff within his early crime life. And I've seen some of this, not the full documentary, but he gave very like true statements of the life within organized crime, and it's definitely like pulling the veil back and looking at a lot. He also was a background actor or an uncredited role within The Godfather. And he co-starred with somebody who also recently passed away, Jimmy Caan.
Yeah,
also
James
passed
Caan.
away.
Godfather is definitely his most famous role. I heard about him passing. I think you emailed me, and it was about the same time Twitter was giving me a notification about it. Yeah, he's a big actor. He's like Godfather would almost certainly have to be his biggest role, but he's been in so much. I mean, if you want to look at the other end of the spectrum, he was in Elf. He played the father in Elf. He is an actor who he's just great. I don't really think I've seen him ever give a bad performance. He's just one of those actors that will be missed. What would be your favorite role from James Caan?
It's hard to say anything but his role as Sonny Corleone. In The Godfather. It's really hard not to.
Listen, he's done lots of stuff. I will give a shout out to Elf. He did. I remember going to a theater and seeing what's it called? It's not Leaving Las Vegas. Honeymoon in Las Vegas. For freaking Nicolas Cage and Sarah Jessica Parker.
He was also in Mickey Blue Eyes.
Yes, Mickey Blue Eyes. He did lots of mafia stuff because of The Godfather.
And it was funny because he didn't want to ever have that typecast him.
There was something I saw that he did that I forgot he did. I have his. Oh wait, here it goes. Okay. Oh yeah, Alien Nation. I forgot he was the main cop in Alien Nation because I have a tendency to think of the TV series anymore. But yeah, that was a cool role.
Okay, yeah.
Alien Nation, I always thought it's not a great movie, but it's kind of underrated, and it definitely deals with racism in the world and illegal immigration in a kind of a clever way, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, if I had to pick a role, it has to be Sonny Corleone, and probably the first Godfather, because I know lots of people argue the second Godfather is better, and I think the second half of the second Godfather is great, but for me, the best one is the first one still. I don't know where you stand on that debate, Bobby.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I will give it to the second half of the second one. It is really good.
It is really great. I don't know. I want to say I'm not 100% on this, but I know that I think there's a cut somewhere where The Godfather 2 it plays out like almost in chronological order. Like it has all the flashback stuff with Vito.
Mm-hmm.
And some of like the more flashback stuff from when Sonny was alive, and then the plot of 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As opposed to it just kind of salt and peppered throughout. I kind of liked that version of it better.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think I've only seen one version.
I remember seeing it on AMC once.
Oh yeah, TV edits will sometimes do creative stuff. Almost as a general rule, TV edits will be worse. But occasionally they do something clever that's worth pointing out.
Yeah. Like making Laurie Strode and Michael Myers siblings.
Yeah. Well, say what you will about that. Those actual scenes filmed for TV, it was kind of interesting to get that little bit of background.
No, it was actually very, very cool, and it still felt like those scenes, well, the scenes in Halloween in particular, they really felt like they were still a part of that story.
Yes, they do.
And it wasn't just like, separate crew and all that.
Yeah.
It still felt like it fit within that same film.
Yeah, and say what you will, they're putting creativity into that.
Yeah, but, and sometimes, made-for-TV stuff just kind of make mistakes.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Everybody makes mistakes, but made-for-TV stuff will have a stricter budget, stricter time schedule. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pay them advertisers.
But yeah, James Caan will be missed. speaking on the lighter side of news, though, with Thor: Love and Thunder coming out, Taika Waititi seems to be getting under a lot of internet heat for what sounds to me like something he brain farted on, and now everybody's freaking out. And I think it was just a joke that they wanted to share, and now the internet's freaking out. To go into detail, though, so Taika Waititi is supposed to be putting together a new Star Wars movie. And he's already said his goal is to do something completely different. We haven't seen new characters and all that, which I think is something Star Wars desperately needs.
Yeah.
But according to this, while he was working on Thor: Love and Thunder, while he was working on it, he asked Natalie Portman if she wanted to be in a Star Wars movie. And she reminded him that she has been in a Star Wars movie.
3, in fact.
Yes. And it feels like one of those things where they just thought was funny, where, like, he asked her, and she's like, I've done that. And he's like, oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, that's right, you have. I'm sorry.
But the internet's blowing up like he doesn't know that. And to me, it felt like they were sharing this story with the movie coming out. Just like, oh, yeah, this thing happened. It was kind of funny. The internet's blowing up at him like, oh, how dare he not know that religiously. It's like, we all brain fart on shit. It was clearly just a funny story.
He's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how well they cover American press films, even something as big as Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would be surprised if he wasn't familiar with it.
I wouldn't be surprised either. And I've heard him talk about other things in interviews, and even in particular Thor, and I'm just basing this off of that. With what he said about Thor is like, the thing about with these characters is there's a lot of characters within that universe that are just so interesting and not really depicted ever and done properly, and even the world itself. And he wanted to give a vision to it. That's why we got Ragnarok looking as colorful what it is. I truly think that he has an eye for storytelling and a way to like let it come to screen.
Yes. For sure. He is a unique voice. Yeah. I will give him that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
What I think he's like me. When I think of Star Wars and I think of Star Wars actors, my brain doesn't default to prequels. My brain is immediately going Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Maybe Anthony Daniels, James Earl Jones.
Peter Mayhew.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I probably think of those names before I think of people like Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman. Ewan McGregor is kind of, I feel like, growing outside of that. But he's like one of the few exceptions. I probably think of those people way before I think of Liam Neeson.
I would probably think I would probably think Ewan McGregor in the same breath as I think of Ray Park.
Yeah.
Ironically.
And it's not to diminish those actors, because I think they did a good job with some very clumsy dialogue. Some of them do a great job with very clumsy dialogue, to give them full credit. But when I think of prequels, when I think of Star Wars actors, the prequels is not my default. So I understand where he's coming from. To me, it sounds like a thing where it's like, hey, you want to be in a Star Wars movie? Oh, shit, yeah, duh. Oh, shit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you did that. I forgot. You want to be in another one? Don't worry, the fans will be totally understanding.
They'll be on board.
Yeah, they're totally cool with this. They won't freak out if an actor plays 2 roles in the universe. I'm sure.
I mean, people don't seem to care that actors are playing superheroes in both Marvel and DC anymore, and I remember when that was the big deal.
Well, in that defense, I feel like every time that happens, people always act like it's the first time. I still remember people asking me, hey, was Ben Affleck the first actor to do Marvel and DC?
No.
Not even close, dude. Not
even
by
close.
A mile.
Not even close.
I still maintain that the first actor to do that is probably Ned Beatty. I can't think of anybody earlier.
Ned Beatty.
Yes, he was in Superman 79. It was 79, right? Or 78.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
And he was also in Captain America 1990.
Yeah. Holy shit, Ned Beatty. Okay. Yeah.
I can't think of anybody who's done it earlier. Hey, if you can, though, add it to the comments. But that's my statement for the first actor to do a Marvel and DC movie. But we were talking about Thor. Are we ready to talk about our thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
Yes. So this movie is getting some love and a lot of hate. It feels like. I feel like the hate's just getting loud, though. I feel like that's
I think
the
a lot of
issue.
yeah, I think at this point, hatred towards a Marvel movie is to be expected when a new
Yeah.
one comes out.
It feels like after
Which-
Captain Marvel and everybody doing anti-Brie Larson, everybody now hates Marvel. Well, it's not. Most people actually don't hate the Marvel movies, but the hatred is very loud.
What is it that Brie Larson did again?
She's done cringe stuff, I will say that. But
Okay.
I know the biggest thing she did that really upset people was she did an interview where she said she doesn't want what she sees too many white guys as far as interviewers and reviewers, and so she won't do any more interviews with people who are white, with white men.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah. No, and they'll point out other cringe things, but that was the impetus of the hate against her. Yeah.
and
Yeah. That I understand.
she's about representation
Yeah.
and like equality and equal depiction. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what's their point?
Well, my argument's always been part of the problem is it's a systemic issue. White men in particular, are going to feel more bold to be reviewers, so that's how come more of them are. This is a systemic issue, and I don't think it's going to help it. But I appreciate her pointing it out. I appreciate her.
No, it's good for her to call it out.
Yes.
But yes, her actions aren't going to fix any of it. It's
No.
only going to add to the problem and just throw gasoline on this fire.
Yeah. But, well, it did, and damage done. And now she can do anything, and they will freak out about it. But that brings us...
Boy, these people are really something, aren't they?
Yes, people are interesting. But, yeah.
People are really something.
Let's get back to Thor, because I liked this movie. I enjoyed it.
I did
It
too.
has its issues. This is no Ragnarok at all.
No, it definitely does have its issues. I felt a lot of the humor within it worked, but with as much of it as that worked, I felt a lot of it really didn't.
Well, here's what I'll say.
And I kind of
Oh, go ahead and finish your thought real fast.
I was gonna say, and I kind of felt like a lot of the jokes they kind of thought they might have been funnier than they actually were. And they kind of kept going back to them. The only one that they did keep going back to that worked every time, well, at least for me, was the goats.
Okay, I was hoping you were going to say the goats, because that one actually I thought got bored quickly, but then as they kept on going to it, they'd remind you of it. And every time they remind me of it afterwards, I got a new chuckle. The goats were kind of good.
I think the loudest pop that I got out of the goats was definitely when they were back on the ship with the Guardians. Yeah. And Nebula was like, I'm going to kill
him. Yes. It's like, I listen, I'm not for just killing animals for the sake of it, but I'm kind of on board with her right now.
Well, it's kind of like when I found that poster of what potentially might be the poster for this, and it had those pictures of the goats. Yeah. I told you, I'm excited about this character.
When it comes to the humor, though, I actually found throughout most of the movie, I think the humor works. Where I notice it really doesn't work is the beginning with Thor. I feel like it's all a bit much.
Yeah.
And it's not that way throughout the movie, thankfully. And yeah, some of it is actually pretty funny. But I feel like Thor being lonely, being kind of pathetic, and it's all at the beginning. They run it a bit much. They just do it one too many times for me.
That and Natalie Portman's catchphrase for me.
I thought that was okay. I think her ending catchphrase that she came up with probably wasn't worth it, though.
I thought it worked, and I mean, at that point I kind of got why they hit on that as much as they did. But yeah, I agree with you on that. It could have been a better one, but I didn't think that joke needed that long to build up, or that moment needed that much time to be built up.
And since we're kind of on the negatives, let's go ahead and get the negatives out of the way. Something I noticed here that kind of surprised me, I think the CGI and the visuals here are actually worse than in Ragnarok. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that city, that first planet they were on with the Guardians, it did kind of look like just almost like a digital map
Yeah.
painting.
Well, I know Doctor Strange 2 had the same issue at the beginning too.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the city stuff just looks like he's in a blue screen.
And maybe like this was a lot of the stuff that was already wrapped up pre-COVID.
Yeah, maybe.
And yeah.
I noticed Korg doesn't look quite as good in this movie as I remember him looking in Ragnarok, which I just saw last week, so my memory's fairly fresh.
Sounded differently.
Oh,
like he didn't sound like it's still Taika doing the voice.
He sounds about the same to
and
me.
Everything.
But he just didn't look quite the same. And like technically it's the same model, but it's just like it's like they didn't render it quite as well. It just looks a bit more fake. There's a bit more glossiness to it. I noticed the god at the beginning that Gore's talking to. I know like part of it's like an aura they're going for, but it doesn't quite work for me. It doesn't feel like he's actually there. It doesn't feel like this otherworldly presence.
Some
there.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that did look a little off and blue screenish to me.
Yeah.
Like I could tell it was done on like a blue screen soundstage.
But yeah, a lot of the visuals, it just feels like it's a little bit cheaper done. I don't know if it's a side effect of pandemic or not. Probably, yes.
Maybe.
I know Thor's like...
That didn't stop Tom Cruise.
Oh, God. A whole different discussion.
Yes.
The helmet that he has for his main suit. I'm not a huge fan of the design of his new main suit in this, but the helmet did not work for me at all. It looked very
I didn't
fake.
like the helmet either.
Yeah, I'm glad when he took it off. But also looked fake. It wasn't just that I didn't like the look of it. It looks fake. Like all the masks here are pretty much CGI, but
yeah, it did look bad. I think the only masks that were like real in like speaking in the terms of Avengers, I think was Cap's was the only one. Like Steve Rogers.
Yeah, it might have been. But yes. What's the other thing?
Maybe Iron Man too.
Oh, yes. The thing that really doesn't work for me is at the end, where apparently he now has the power to give a whole bunch of kids the power of Thor, which...
Yeah. That was... That kind of made... At that moment watching it, it kind of made me think, this might be one that I'm actually witnessing that, like, this is for kids.
Yeah.
This one is definitely one that they made for kids.
Yeah, no, that scene...
Or at least that part was definitely in there for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to start, going and defending, like saying, yes, let's have a children's movie where they openly discuss orgies.
No, yeah.
But they did talk about orgies in the last one.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of issues I have with this. Number one, it's reminded me a lot of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. If you remind me of the first half of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, good. If you remind me of the second half of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, bad. This reminded me of the second half.
Yeah.
I think just the idea that he could just give the power of Thor to, like, anybody, just, holy shit. That's a lot of power. You could just, like, next time you're with the Avengers, just give all of them the power of Thor.
Well, I mean, he doesn't need to give it to Steve, but...
Well, that's the thing. Like, before it was like you have to have the hammer to get it. That's how Jane got it. So I'm kind of on board with that. But... Yeah, just the fact that you can give it to a whole bunch of kids, it doesn't sit right with me.
I will say it was cool to see Mjolnir back.
Yes.
To see the hammer back. And even the scene of him just picking it up to make sure.
Yeah, I like that because
that's
actually something in the comic book. In the comic book, he is actually unworthy, and Jane becomes worthy, and that's how come she gets it. But he is. They do establish here he is still worthy. Yeah.
And also, like in the comics, Jane does also die in this, and they also resurrect a statue in honor of her. Which that statue, I have to say, was very much comic book accurate.
Well, we'll definitely get into the positives here. I largely like what they do with Jane in this story.
I do too.
She starts out in chemotherapy. They're 100% doing the cancer stuff. It's not even spoiler to say it. They start like Act 1. She's getting chemotherapy. First thing you see.
Yeah, it's like the first we get a shot of her before we get a shot of Thor.
Do we? I'm not sure.
Mistaken.
No, I'm pretty sure we get.
I
Thor
saw
on
it
the
last
Guardians
week,
planet.
so
I think we see Thor on the with
Yeah.
the Guardians before we see her, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's right. Yeah.
But that
Maybe, but I know that. Yeah.
they do a good job making her look pale and weak. The only thing I wonder is why they didn't give her a skull cap for that stuff, because they can make pretty convincing skull caps anymore. Because that is part of her comic book character. She's pale and weak, and she is bald.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it's something Natalie Portman didn't want to do, but I think they do a good job with it. But that is a serious side effect of chemotherapy.
It wouldn't have been the first time she would have appeared without hair.
That's true. V for Vendetta. She actually shaved for that one.
Yeah. She actually shaved her head for that one.
And I would actually even say here that she probably shouldn't shave her head. Because as when she gets the powers of Thor, in the comic book, she's not bald. She's not.
Nope.
So either, don't shave her head, or you have a very tricky shooting schedule.
Well, the bald cap that they have for Karen Gillan is like very good.
Yes, they've got that down. She did shave for the first Guardians, but I think after that it's been a bald cap, and that's very good. So I don't know why they didn't do the same style here. You just have to be creative with your shots and make sure not to show the seams. And even with CGI, you can use that to help enhance it. So I feel like that would have been better. That being said, this is very much a nitpick, because I think the way they handle Jane Foster is honestly better than they've done in any of the movies so far.
Agreed.
I like her character so much more here. I actually 100% buy their relationship here. Before, especially in Thor 1, it felt like these are two very pretty people, and that's why they're hooking up. And it's like, okay, sure, whatever. Here, I buy their relationship. Just they feel natural here.
No, they did feel natural in this one.
Yes.
Like it felt like they actually liked each other.
Yes, very much so. We should probably talk about the villain, Gore the God Butcher. How do you feel about
Christian
him?
Bale?
Yes.
Christian Bale?
Yes.
Oh man, was he great?
No, he was great. I thought he was a good menacing presence here.
I would definitely dare to say that there are parts of this movie that he stole.
Oh yeah. No, he is well, to give you an idea of his origin in this movie, I haven't had a chance to read that comic book yet. I actually just got it.
Okay.
So he is in this movie, he goes out, he's stuck in the desert with his daughter. He's asking the gods, please rain so we don't die of dehydration. And then he's praying to the gods, and then it doesn't happen. His daughter dies, and then he wanders off and he encounters a god, the god that he worships. And the god just laughs at him, saying, "There's no greater life. I don't give a shit about you." And then, there's this necro sword there that chooses Christian Bale, and he kills the god. And then he decides from then on out, he's going to kill gods. I think it's kind of a cool origin story. I kind of get it. Just a guy who's built his whole life around faith, deciding, oh, this is all bullshit. Fuck this shit. It's kind of understandable. Yes, absolutely, he takes it too far. That's a general thing with villains. But, yeah, I get it. I understand. And I want to also stress, I think Christian Bale does a really good job with it.
Yeah, he really should play the villain a lot more.
Yeah, he's...
absolutely play the villain more.
He just has this serious menace to him. And I really am interested to read the comic book, but here, essentially, he has the Necro Sword, which is essentially a sword designed to kill gods. He can use it to summon these alien creatures, which, correct me if I'm wrong in the comic books, I believe the reason he can summon alien creatures is because that alien sword is a symbiote, and those are symbiotes,
I think,
like Venom Sal's symbiotes that he are summoning. And you can kind of recognize it with the teeth and stuff in the movie, but they never say anything quite like that. But also his ability to, hide and reappear from shadows is straight from a horror movie, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it was really cool.
Yeah, occasionally they channel that. Not as much as Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, which makes me kind of wonder what it'd be like if Sam Raimi directed a Gore the God Butcher movie.
It would be perfect.
Yeah. Taika Waititi has some fun with it, though. Yeah. I would actually even probably call this the second best Thor movie. It's not perfect at all. Oh, another complaint.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Another complaint I will definitely levy at it. Too much Guns N' Roses. I am a little burnt out on the amount of Guns N' Roses packed into this thing.
I'm not really a big fan either.
I like Guns N' Roses,
agree.
but this is too much. It's like their 4 most famous songs played a bit much for them. And
no, they didn't even play like the good ones either.
Well, that's the thing. Like they could, like for a second there, I thought maybe they would reference Appetite for Destruction, and then they would just play lots of stuff from Appetite for Destruction, which could maybe throw in a couple album tracks like My Michelle or something like that. Do some fun stuff. But no, they just do the 3 big hits, and then it feels like they need something for the final battle, so they throw in November Rain. And it gets a little obnoxious.
Yeah.
I remember just getting to the second song, which was Paradise City, which was okay. Because at first, I thought it was a clever bait and switch. Because the trailers all had Sweet Child of Mine. And then we start out here with Welcome to the Jungle. I'm like, oh, it's a bait and switch. I kind of like that. But yes, this movie prominently features throughout it Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, and November Rain. And you know what? I like Guns N' Roses, but... Okay.
My stand is giving me so much trouble right now.
Yeah, it's like dangling now.
I'm trying.
Work with it.
Try not to be distracted with it.
But yeah, this is ooh, hey, don't just dangle that shit in front of people.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, this is not a perfect movie. One thing I do like is Jane's, when she gets Mjolnir, she has this cool ability where it will split up into different parts because it's been fractured and then like rejoin.
Oh yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
I guess we're past complaints, but I have another one. I kind of like this and I kind of don't. So in this in the MCU, the reason why Jane gets the hammer is because Thor, when he's dating Jane, asks Mjolnir, if something ever happens, I want you to protect her. And you see that the hammer gets activated by his enchantment or whatever, which I'm not sure if he 100% meant, but I imagine he did mean it. I don't think he knew what the hammer would do with it, though. That being said, it brings up the question of whether or not she's actually worthy, which she is in the comic book. I believe she is here. But it muddies those waters, and I don't know if I like that. I like the idea of just she's worthy. And that's why she has it.
Well, they really didn't show it, like, coming to her or anything. All it showed was her looking at the spot where Hela crumbled it.
What?
And,
it could...
Which, also, I had something I wanted to bring up with that. So they had that little spot of the grass, right? They said those immovable pieces. Mm-hmm. How do they get it on that stand?
I assume they just move the earth around it, like placing Mjolnir in an elevator.
Yeah, but those. But if those pieces in the hammer are movable, technically it would weigh down the ground in which that they were trying to lift it on too.
It's a magic enchantment. If you really want to dive into science, it doesn't work. It never worked. It never.
No. But I mean, I'm never gonna question, Stan Lee, or Jack Kirby.
No, their science is always perfect.
Ever. Because I could look past the semantics of it and appreciate the good narrative and, I guess, better role models that they created than the ones that exist within our world.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
But, to get real deep about it for a moment.
No, but I do feel like here they say Jane has essentially dreams about Mjolnir, and that's why she goes to visit, and then we see it kind of activate around her, and then the next scene we get, she's Thor. And I feel like an argument could have been made that would have been nice if maybe she finds herself in an action scene. She maybe tries to help somebody that she can help, and the hammer just comes to her in her moment of need. That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah, or she was getting mugged and cornered, and she went stop, and then Mjolnir came to her.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the idea of her saving people, but this is of course nitpicking. This is me looking at it going, it would be nice, but, maybe there's budget issues. I think what they did works.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I overall like this movie. It's not perfect. My issues with it have nothing to do with the fact that Valkyrie is 100% confirmed to be a lesbian here. And Korg is maybe gay or maybe comes from a unisex species. I'm sure lots of people are freaking out about that. And guess what? I don't care. I'm cool with that. And I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I don't care.
I like the characters of Korg and Valkyrie. So get over it. I know people are freaking out also because Russell Crowe is playing Zeus, and he's not playing a badass Zeus. He's playing like the older, overweight, just wanting to have
hedonistic
fun
Zeus.
with life Zeus. And oh my God, isn't that
hedonistic
awful? Yeah,
one.
and it's like that's the character he's playing, dude.
The version of Zeus that if he were a robot, he'd be hedonism bot.
Yes. He is just, hey, let's have an orgy. Hey, this guy's out there killing gods. Yes. I don't care. Let's have an orgy. I don't care. Hey, we need your lightning bolt to help fight this guy. Yeah, but I need to do cool light shows, so fuck off.
but we're talking about the orgy right now.
Yeah,
so,
the orgy is the important thing, people. There's way more to like about this movie than to dislike. But yes, this is good, not great. Go in there expecting a step or two below Ragnarok. I think you'll have a good time.
Yeah,
expect
it to be better than Dark World.
Yeah, and I'd even put better than the first Thor, which I kind of like. Dark World.
Yeah,
I don't dislike Dark World, but it's so meh. It's like just the most cliche Marvel superhero movie ever. Most cliche superhero movie ever, possibly. It's nothing particularly bad. It's just Jesus Christ. If you just want a standard superhero movie, that's it. Are we ready to go into Predator?
Yeah, let's go into Predator.
Oh, Predator. So if you're wondering why we are talking about Predator, is because of certain movies...
It's because of this. Actor in there, Henry Kingi, has the honor of being was in both Predator films. And we are highlighting that fact today.
Henry Kingi. Who did he play?
Yeah. He played a guy who was at the processing plant when they first showed up.
Oh.
And he's the guy who jumped in the truck and crashed into the tent.
Oh, wow.
He's in both Predator movies.
So this one and Predator 2, I assume? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
I did not know we had actor overlap.
Yes. So that's why we talked about the Predator. Okay, on to the boys.
Yeah. No. In the beginning of August, we will get a Predator prequel. And I didn't realize this. I thought it was a theater movie. It's actually going to be on Hulu. It's going to be a straight-to-Hulu movie.
Okay.
So, hey, that'll be convenient. And obviously people are freaking out about because the final girl in that movie appears to be a woman. Isn't that awful?
The final girl.
Yes.
Being a woman in it, and people are freaking out.
Listen, the final girl in Predator movies is usually guys. Here, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. But
what about Alien vs. Predator, the first one?
No, they actually had a final girl. Yeah, you're right. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but yes.
And Predator made her a fellow, soldier with that xenomorph head.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, how do they get all the blood of that? Because wouldn't all the blood from inside of that head just be literally eating away her arm?
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen that, so
that part always just I don't know.
Well, for what it's worth, this movie is better than Alien vs. Predator.
Yes, so much better.
Well,
it's not better than Aliens, though.
I'd probably agree with that.
Not by a long shot.
I like this one.
Not by a long shot.
Do you know what I really like about this one? This one starts out...
Because Jesse the Body Ventura?
Well, of course, there's that, too. Best actor in the universe, Jesse the Body Ventura. No.
He is. He is the guardian of the universe.
No, what I like is that you start out with this group of guys, and it is just this high testosterone situation. These guys are talking vagina jokes and just, we're manly
and Shane Black
men.
is there, too. And Shane Black is there, too.
Yeah, Shane Black. Yeah, Shane Black is awesome. But, yeah, it's kind of obnoxious. These guys are almost obnoxious cliches of superheroes, of action movies. And they are going in to do an action movie situation. And we get that action movie scene We even get Arnold throwing a knife through a guy saying "stick around." Just so cliche.
Which actually, that line was improvised.
Wouldn't surprise me. It works so
Yeah.
well because it's such
It
cliche
does.
action shit at the beginning of this movie.
And I'm almost certain that the guy who played LaForce was in that next scene immediately after that, like where he throws the knife at the guy and then he kicks in the door and says knock knock. You see that guy kind of look up and he shoots him out the window.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure that guy was LaForce.
I don't remember that, but it doesn't seem impossible to me. Like I could place him there if I visualize that.
No,
Yeah.
because he's worked with Arnold plenty of times.
Yeah, he was in
Like,
Running Man.
Yeah, and now that also means that, Jesse and the guy who played LaForce, they were in another movie together other than Abraxas.
Oh,
Guardian
wow.
of the Universe.
Well, they were both in Running Man too. Jesse was in that too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Running Man's a
Jesse
fun
was-
one.
Running Man is a great movie.
But this is great too. I love how just these cliche action stars, just being manly men, blowing up shit, being just fucking shit up, and then they get hunted by essentially an alien slasher villain, and suddenly it becomes this horror movie. And I just kind of love how there's this gradual tonal shift. All of a sudden, these guys who are the super macho men are suddenly pissing their pants over this thing.
Yeah, because they just do not know what the hell is hunting them.
No, listen, I will say this. I like most the Predator movies. I'm not talking Alien vs. Predator. I'm just talking about the mainline Predator movies. I actually enjoy most of those. This is definitely the best.
Yeah.
Just there was talk, I remember, about how John McTiernan actually didn't want the alien spaceship beginning because he wanted the alien to be slowly revealed throughout the movie. He didn't want introduced immediately that this is an alien. And I think I would have liked that better. It's a minor quibble, but yeah, I don't think the alien spaceship looks particularly great, and it's not 100% necessary.
No, it would have been better as a reveal at the end.
Because they do actually do great alien work on like the Predator mask and shit like that. The way they get the mouth to open, and it is one ugly motherfucker.
It is,
and
it has a horrible laugh.
What's the name of the guy? Isn't it Kevin? The guy who plays Predator. I think he does it in this one and the second one.
I believe so.
It's like Kevin. I want to say Hall. I know the guy is like huge in height. Let me see.
It's not the same actor who portrayed Xenomorph in the first one, is it? The first Alien.
Kevin Peter Hall, and I know he died not long after shooting the second one. Did he do Xenomorph? I'm not seeing
sure.
it in the credits. He played Harry and Henry in the
actor.
Hendersons, though.
That's heartwarming.
Yes. But yeah, he is a tall guy. Like, he towers over Arnold quite easily. And I think Arnold's like early 6 feet. So he's not hugely tall, but he's fairly tall.
And fucking hilarious.
He has his moments.
He does.
But yeah, I love how this movie's part action movie, part horror movie, and it kind of shifts between the two fairly seamlessly. I love how the characters here that you would think would be that were normally just the action hero tough guys are actually just like the victims of this serial killer in the end. I just kind of love how this movie just combines just these tropes of action movies and slasher movies and puts them together and makes something kind of unique. I don't know. I just appreciate what this movie kind of is. And yeah, you are right. I would probably put Aliens better. I'd probably put the first Alien as being better. Maybe rewatch that. But yeah, that one's just a classic horror movie. But this is really good. I appreciate what this movie does. And it is classic Arnold. Like, if you were to put together a list of must-watch Arnold movies at his peak of popularity, this would definitely be on the list.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And he knew what directors to work with back then. He worked with James Cameron a lot. This is John McTiernan. If you're not familiar with John McTiernan, he also directed the first 2 or 3. I think he did the first 3 Die Hard movies. And I'm not a huge fan of Die Hard 2, but Die Hard, the original, and Die Hard with a Vengeance are classics. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Predator, Bobby? I don't feel like I've gotten much from you.
I enjoy this movie. I really do. This is one that I really have not seen in a long time. So watching it this go around was almost like kind of watching it all over again for the first time. I do enjoy it. My thoughts on Predator. Like I said, watching this for the first time in a long time, it was almost a lot like, experiencing it all over again. So I enjoyed it. The characters are definitely stereotypes, but it's hard to say that they're all just one big stereotype because they're different characteristics of, I guess, the archetype of your typical action hero film. Like, let's see here. There was Jesse the Body's character, who was just the all guns and
No, I love
brawn as fuck.
Yeah, no, I love the I don't have time to bleed. And then the other guy's response, he blows up a building. You're like, well, you got time to duck?
Also, there's a lot of stuff in there that I wanted to kind of pull the footage of just the best stuff of Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah.
And just be like, Jesse the Body running for the government in your office of Minnesota.
Yes.
And just turn them into campaign ads.
Oh, God.
Let's see here. There was another actor. There was Chico, who was John Cassavetes. No, that wasn't him. I got to get the cast in front of me. I had
it there just a second ago. Yeah, I got Kevin Peter Hall up. Let's see. Richard Chavez as Pancho?
Yes, Pancho. He was definitely one of my favorite characters. There was Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah.
As Dylan. Shane Black played Hawkins. Bill Duke Mac. Wow, he gave a great performance.
He was amazing
throughout all the film. Billy, who was played by Sonny Landham, definitely my favorite out of the bunch.
Yeah, I was.
And also, we didn't get to see him.
Yeah.
We didn't see his end.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of more of really the guy who looks like the most badass out of all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember, I think in Predators, they don't directly address that, but they set up a similar fight situation, except we actually get to see that fight, and it always felt like, okay, that's them addressing the fact that we never got the Billy fight. We never.
Yeah.
But
all of this movie, but what we find out is throughout it, Carl Weathers lied pretty much to Arnold to get him and his men out there to pretty much do Carl Weathers' bidding.
Yes.
Yeah. And the big swerve. Damn you, Apollo Creed.
Yeah. No, it's a credit to Carl Weathers because he does not play a good guy here. But still, at the end, you still, you don't entirely just hate him. And maybe it's just because the situation he finds himself in, he's essentially has to be on their side because they're all fucked.
Yeah. And he realized that, he literally sent all of them to their death.
Yeah. It may not have even been something he realized that, he's sending them all to their death. But, they actually pretty much pulled through if there wasn't this crazy alien out there.
Yeah, they would have if the Predator didn't come there and fuck things up for him.
Yeah, it's a collection of superhero action stars. Of course they'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some mayhem and carnage along the way, but it was late 80s action flick. Yeah, that was kind of the norm at that time.
But I am glad you brought up Billy, as played by have him here, Sonny Landham, and then Mac by Bill Duke, because of the characters of these group, those are definitely two of my favorite. Billy just comes off as this quiet badass, just kind of cool, he's not judging anybody, but he's just kind of a badass. And then Mac is he's
definitely the wild card.
Yeah, he's close to blame, but you feel where he's coming from. He's going through some issues. He's going crazy going through this situation, but you feel where he's at the same time. Like you
Yeah, you do.
understand it.
Like,
It doesn't
like
get
that-
annoying. It's right
The
where you
scene
understand.
with him and that disposable razor where he's just slowly shaving,
Yeah.
and he presses it against his cheek just until it breaks, and you just see blood start to trickle down. Like, ooh,
No, it's one of those
my
things
man.
where you see that and it's like, that's why you don't bring that as a thing to fiddle with. That's insane. Why are you bringing a loaded razor with you? But yeah, it shows how tense he is. That he's cutting himself. He's just nonchalantly cutting himself till he bleeds, and he does not care. Just he is so freaked out at this moment. It gets the point across. Yeah, John McTiernan in his time was a really good director, and this is just another example of that. I don't know if the new one will be good. I haven't seen the trailer for it. I've heard good things about the trailer for it, but I am interested to check it out. But yeah,
I'm curious too.
This was definitely a good one. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Are we ready to get into the boys?
Yeah.
Oh boy, the boys. The first 4 episodes of season 3, as I've said, we'll get to kind of our all thoughts on season 3 next week. Because, just watching a whole season in a week is a bit much. But oh my god, it's almost an endurance test to not just watch the rest of the season, because I want to be able to talk about the first 4 freely without knowing the rest.
Yeah, I was taking notes and kind of slowly catching up today, and I was setting all this up today, and near the end of 4, and it just started to play, and I was just double checking, setting something up, and then I kind of heard the Amazon thing start, and I'm like, oh shit, no, stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, we want to talk about this freely, but I want to know what happens at the end of this season, because this is starting out very good. First of all,
I've also cheated. I will say I cheated already. I did watch 5.
How dare
I already
you?
watched
How
the
dare you? Well, don't
I
talk
was
about
with
it
the
because I
wife.
haven't yet.
I'm not blaming her. But I was just with the wife. She's like, let's watch the next one. I have to watch the first 4. Well, we can just watch this one. You'll be ahead. Right.
We will get to it. Yeah.
So I'm going on the right page of notes.
So this season seems to be largely focused around Soldier Boy, although we don't see a whole lot of him.
Well, yet.
Yeah, he is played by Jensen Ackles from Supernatural, and I didn't realize until he was announced as the casting that Eric Kripke ran this show, and he was also the showrunner for Supernatural. I didn't realize that. Supernatural is a series I kind of enjoyed for a while, but it got really long in the tooth. I'm kind of impressed this is the same guy, because I actually think this series is actually much better. I know the Supernatural fans are going to get mad at me now. Supernatural's fine, but this I think is kind of amazing. Have you ever seen Supernatural, Bobby?
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it gets redundant. There are good stuff in it. I will say, I definitely think Jensen Ackles was one of the better guys in that series. The other guy, the guy who played Sam, I think he does a good job, but the character never was kind of blah. But yeah, it's all about finding about Soldier Boy in this season. And Soldier Boy actually has a close connection to Mother's Milk, seeing as apparently he killed his family. Not his wife and his kid, obviously, but obviously his parents and probably others. It's also worth noting with Mother's Milk is that I really, especially this season, I really enjoy, my favorite characters would probably have to be at this point Mother's Milk. I like Kamiko. Huey's pretty good. Frenchie has his moments where I'm not thrilled with him, but overall I feel like he means well. Starlight's pretty good. Maeve is really coming around. Billy has issues. Billy, we brought up before, but Billy definitely...
You think?
Yeah, he is...
You think?
I don't think he's spending enough time with his adopted son. What's his name? I know his name. Is it Ryan?
Yeah. Yes, Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Who is actually his wife and Homelander's son. he is spending time with him and he is kind of taking care of him, but he's also leaving him with Grace, which is not, I'm sure that's not what his wife had in mind before she died. But he's also a guy of problems. I am interested to see where this season goes. Homelander is taking a very Trumpian route. We should definitely talk about that. He's taking this route of like just saying just like the worst things you can imagine, and the public is loving it. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it's actually Trumpian, even though it 100% is, because this show's 100% apolitical and doesn't reflect the times we live in.
No, the writers admitted that they really leaned in hard on that this season.
I've not seen anything about, but it feels like it. He feels like he's taking the Trump angle. And he's really stepping up as like the main villain. Before this season, I was really kind of feeling like the main villain was kind of more Stanley Edgar.
Was Vought.
Well, yeah. He's the main person behind Vought. And the only redeeming quality to Stanley Edgar, I always thought, was the fact that he could put Homelander in his place. It's like he seems like a disgusting human being, but he puts Homelander in his place, and those moments I like.
Well, to be fair, that actor and that man can put anybody in their place with one well-crafted sentence.
Getting his name correct this time, Giancarlo Esposito. Yes. Ever since he played Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, that is his default role, and he does a good job with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to put together or get enough footage or like clips of him together and just put together some of my favorite bits of dialogue I've heard him say.
Yeah.
And there's a few in these first few episodes that he is just, damn.
Well,
that is beautiful.
On him, we get a little bit of flashback stuff because Soldier Boys actually fought in Vietnam with some other superheroes and they were awful at it.
Yeah.
But we get a young actor playing. Well, no. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I think that was during the Iran-Contra thing, right after Ollie North's epic fuck-up.
Oh, was it? Wait, there's not politics in this, is there?
Yeah, no, that's about that time that Ollie North fucked up.
Yeah. He did.
He fucked up, Ollie North.
Yes.
You fucked up.
Yeah. No, that never happens in our government. This show is apolitical.
Yeah, our government never fucks up. They never fuck up.
No, they don't.
Ever.
But here, a lot of it, what we see is superhero fuck-ups. Like, their camp gets attacked because they have this one guy who's like a fucking insect who likes to fly.
And he keeps on fly.
Yeah, and he gives away their position by fucking flying like a dumbass.
Oh. When that first scene was happening, like, the note I have is like, and we have this jackass giving away their position.
Yes.
And then young Madam Natalie Caldwell says that, and I go, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah. And then, like, when they get attacked, like, the first thing we see, the Countess, I don't remember her name. She's played by the actress from Walking Dead, though.
Not Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Laurie Holden. The actress is Laurie Holden. Yes. Countess. Crimson Countess. That's it. The first thing she does is kill...
Not Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, the first thing she does is kill two fucking friendlies. It's like, oh my god, these people are worse. This whole camp is worse for having these superpowered people here. They should help,
like,
but
I
they're
would
actually
say that
worse
they got
off.
Yeah, I would say they got the kinks out early, but nope.
Yeah.
Still working through it.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I want to go back to this is because we do get a young Stanley Edgar, going back to my original point.
Yeah.
I thought that guy really got the inflections down. What did you think?
I thought I had to do a double take.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wondered, did they de-age him? Did they put makeup on him? And since I'm watching it, well, it's Amazon, I just kind of moved my mouse and had the X-ray thing pop and went, no, that's holy shit.
No, it's one of those things.
Okay, this kid is great.
Yeah, he introduced himself early, but even before he introduced himself, it's like, that's Stanley Edgar. Without a doubt,
I was like, well, there's
he
Stan.
nails it. Yeah.
I could tell just by how he was standing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does a great job. I just want to give him a shout out. Because
Yeah, quick praise because that was fucking right on, man.
yeah. But we get to see a little bit of Black Noir's origin. It seems like he can take a lot of damage, but he doesn't really heal. Because his face gets fucked up, and I assume it's still fucked up because I don't think we ever see him without the mask. I know.
Yeah, I'm presuming he's still pretty fucked up under there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got fucked up pretty badly.
No, it's essentially they're going for that whole golden age of superheroes thing. Which, yeah, except these superheroes are fucked up, selfish assholes. Pieces of shit. I don't know how else to describe them. They do not care. And
also, it's important to mention that, A-Train had his, pro Black Lives Matter commercial that is just beyond cringe.
So at the beginning of that, I didn't 100% realize it was a commercial. And I thought, oh, maybe he's actually getting involved with protests. Maybe this is his character evolving. Throughout the first half of this season, I'm trying to give A-Train credit because it sounds like he's so full of shit, but I'm trying to give him credit. Like, listen, evolve, do the right thing. The first thing is, like, his brother brings up this superhero that's causing trouble in the neighborhood, and he's trying to get the Seven to help out.
Yeah,
it's like,
Blue Hawk.
Good. That's a good thing. Do that.
Yeah.
And then he does this awful suit change where he's trying to respect the culture, and it's like, dude, you've never spoken about that before. But for me, it's like, if you honestly want to go back and start respecting your culture, go for it. The suit sucks, but if you honestly want to do that, go for it. I'm not seeing him really caring though. He even wants to do his own version of Roots, which is just like, oh no. And they even say part of the problem with all his pitches about that stuff is that it's so clear he doesn't give a shit. Like, if he actually genuinely had a passion, that'd be different.
All right, really quickly, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the actor who portrayed the young Stan Edgar is named Justin Davis.
Justin Davis, good job, man.
Yeah. Yes.
But yes, we eventually lead up to we see A-Train's about ready to shoot a commercial, and then we see a Black Lives Matter protest, and then he says, hey, I can't do this right now. I gotta go help this out. And it turns out it's all part of the commercial. And it is literally... Who was it? Was it Kendall Jenner? It was one of the Jenners. In that Pepsi Super Bowl commercial. He literally does that fucking commercial. It's like, guys, that commercial was cringe. And how do people not recognize how cringe this is?
Just about as cringe as her face or as her Instagram post holding up a sign, but she did it in front of some glass doors.
Ooh.
So behind her, she's just holding up her hands like this. Like you see that she's holding nothing, and
so fake.
When you pay somebody to Photoshop, make sure they're very good at their job.
Yeah, make sure they get the reflection.
Remember. Yeah, and always be sure to mind your surroundings when you're photographing, and remember that things like windows are also serve as reflective surfaces.
And the crazy thing about even that is that it would be easy for her just to hold up a blank sign, and then you could add the shit digitally later, and then that would cover your reflections and shit like that quite well.
But that would require to go to the store.
Yeah, that required
or I'm
literally
sorry,
1% extra effort.
Yell at somebody and demand that they go to the store for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, A-Train is channeling this type of energy throughout the beginning of this season, and it is cringe. And but there does end up being this kind of, as Homelander's building up this popularity, essentially being a new Trump. In the background, we see Maeve has been training because she's preparing for a moment where she's planning to sacrifice her life in the hope to actually get Homelander.
To kill him, yeah.
Yeah, because part of the reason they're after Soldier Boy is because somehow he has a connection to a weapon that could kill Homelander.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Maeve's working for, and Starlight essentially says, we're going to try to avoid making sure you have to sacrifice yourself, but I will work with you. Absolutely. And they end up with a new member. What's his name? The boy band guy. Is it Supersonic?
Yeah, Supersonic.
That sounds right. Yeah. So Supersonic is an old flame of Starlight.
Starlight's.
There's some jealousy between him and Huey, and it's Huey is clearly not showing his best face, but he's not doing terrible either. I don't want to completely diss on him here. He could have been a lot worse. Usually in TV shows, they're a lot worse.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some jealousy there. But yeah, she gets him involved, and it's like, Homelander's a really bad guy. We need to work together. And then they see there's lots of shit between Homelander and A-Train. Homelander's being a complete piece of shit to A-Train. And so they talk...
He really was.
So they talk to A-Train and see if he's on board. And at first he's like, no. And then later he agrees. And then I believe it's towards the end of episode 4 where we find out that A-Train ratted them out to Homelander. He kills Supersonic and shows Starlight his body.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking tore up. It's
destroyed.
It's
yeah.
I think it was last season where we find out that Maeve had some person who was interested in her and talked to her, and Homelander saw it and just killed her and put the body on display for her. And it was very reminiscent of that scene. It's like, oh, that's what that was like for Maeve. Starlight now gets that treatment. Yeah,
and he even said that, Maeve and him started to date just because the company wanted them to.
Yeah. Well, that's
who knows?
That's the thing. We get Starlight at a children's pageant, and we get this scene where we see her fist clenched behind herself while she's smiling, and we clearly see she's not happy. She's putting on a happy face.
Yeah.
And then Homelander at the end of that episode pops on, oh, Starlight and I are dating. And we see her put on the happy face and even kiss him. And we see that fist clenched behind her. Just fuck. And she's not happy because, she's already been public that she's out with Huey. And I don't know if they're living together. They're at least practically living together. And now all of a sudden they had on the show that she's dating Homelander. Clearly she's not going to be happy about that. Clearly. But yeah, they are working towards killing Homelander. And Stan Edgar even puts together a plan because he doesn't like what Homelander is doing. So he's just put together a plan to just give him some wrist slaps to let him know who's in charge. I guess before we get really into this, we should probably get into the head popper. Newman, who's a pretty big character in this season.
In the first episode... No, it was last season where they killed the CIA operative.
Yeah, and then they cut to a shot of Newman. Raynor.
And they didn't... And we didn't find this out until the end of season 2 that it was Newman who was doing this.
Yes.
But they subtly told us in the first episode.
Yes.
So this whole time we see at the end of season 2, we saw Huey go to work with her. Mm-hmm. And, he wants to beat Vought, the right way.
Yes.
The clean way, the less blood and guts covered way.
Yes.
There's a reason why I'm saying that. And it's the same reason the show emphasized it so much. In this, we later find that as we know, the audience, it's Newman. There's been somebody who's been trying to track her down and keeps showing up at the office. Huey even sees somebody trying to get her attention at the Dawn of the Seven premiere. Mm-hmm. And, he keeps calling her Nadia. And he just thinks that's weird because that's not her name. Mm-hmm. Why is he calling her, looking at her like that? So he looks it up, finds that, Newman might be potentially hiding some things. He goes to follow her because he sees that guy going after her when, they both leave work. He goes to find her, and that's when Huey discovers that Newman is the head popper.
Yes.
And we later find out that not only is she the head popper, but she's also the adoptive daughter of Stan Edgar.
Yes. So Newman's all types of bad news. When we found out she was a head popper, we weren't sure exactly what that meant.
Yeah.
Is she still against superheroes or what? And some of the people she's popping heads of, it's like Raynor. Why would you pop Raynor's head if you're against superheroes?
Yeah.
It's very confusing. And then when we find out she's Stanley Edgar's adopted daughter, it's almost like, oh, now I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edgar would want that head popped for sure.
Yeah, but it kind of also begs the question of, if she's as far as she is in her career, then what's the real end game, Stan?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like, what's your end game here?
Well, that we start hitting that wall a bit because he sets up the plan to essentially have Newman do some wrist slaps for Homelander just to let him know his place, which she doesn't do. She instead starts doing essentially revealing charges being pressed against Stan Edgar.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested. So we have to.
Yeah.
We're kind of left off there. We don't know exactly where that's going, but it's like, oh shit. And it's like, what, did Homelander somehow intimidate her? Because it's something I've wondered. Because, like, can she pop Homelander's head? Because
I hope so.
It's worth noting, the guy earlier who was calling her Nadia, they do have a confrontation. And she goes to pop his head, and our first sign of it is that his nose starts bleeding. Most people, when she pops heads, it's just boom, popped. But this guy actually had superpowers, so she couldn't just pop. His nose is bleeding first, and he appears to have some sort of super strength. I don't know if it's comparable to Homelander or not. Probably lesser.
Yeah.
But she could eventually pop his head. It just took... There is a struggle, and it took some work. So could she pop Homelander's head? I imagine this season we're probably going to find out. Maybe not, though. Will they kill off Homelander at the end of this season? They're really building him up. I have trouble seeing them not doing something with Homelander at the end of this season.
Well, I mean, he pretty much did threaten Starlight with what he pretty much ends up doing in the books. Like going to the White House.
Well, I haven't read the books, but it actually brought up some...
Oh, sorry. Spoiler.
Oh, it's fine. It's something I wanted to bring up because my daughter actually brought up to me because she's been reading up on it. Apparently in the books, there's a plane in season 1 where Maeve's trying to get him to at least save some of the people, and he's saying no, and he refuses, and he just, takes Maeve off.
Yeah.
Famous plane incident that still is a major story point here. But apparently in the comic books, that was one of the planes that hit the towers on 9/11.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But of course, this story is completely apolitical, guys. Apolitical.
Yes, that was, and the one that they depicted and how they told that arc in the show was one that hit, I think, the Manhattan.
Yeah.
In the books, and they do which was pretty much their 9/11 in that universe. So, there's remember bridge, united we stand, strong like a bridge, and shit like that they have in the books. Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore.
That is pretty fucking hardcore.
I don't put past Garth Ennis. He is very much, I'm just going to tell the story I want to tell type guy, which is something I appreciate in his writing. But, yeah. For a second there, it felt like we were getting a division between the 7, with essentially Starlight, Maeve, Supersonic, and A-Train, possibly going up against Homelander. The Deep, who very much put himself in Homelander's camp.
The Deep is back.
Yes.
The Church of the Collective got him back, and he has his handler of a lady.
Yeah. She's fun.
Yeah, she's not controlling.
No, what I thought was interesting is you have that sex scene between him and his wife, handler, whatever you want to call her.
And the octopus.
Yeah, he's looking at the octopus, and it's obviously he's visually fucking the octopus, and it's weird and shit.
Yeah.
But later on...
He later eats the octopus.
Yeah, they make him eat the octopus, and you see Homelander is like, yeah, fucking eat it. His wife, handler, who supposedly loves him, but of course no, is like, yeah, fucking eat it.
Do it.
And
do it.
And
fucking eat it.
Ashley gets to serve as the audience surrogate, where she's like, what the fuck are we watching? This is fucked up, right? Yeah, you just see the look on her face, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't really care for Ashley in the first season, but now I'm really kind of loving her discomfort through all of this.
Yeah, just dealing with these narcissistic superhero douchebags. It's like, oh my god.
Girl, you need a better job.
Yes, she does. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was talking about the divisions between the 7. But of course, that division didn't last long because A-Train quickly allies with Homelander, and Homelander kills Supersonic. So now it's essentially Starlight and Maeve versus the others. And we're back down to 6 because God forbid we have an actual 7 in the 7 for too long.
Right.
But yeah, things are not going well for our heroes, but they do just stumble across Soldier Boy at the end of the episode. Oh shit. We can't go without talking about Temp V.
Oh yeah, Temp V. So
this is a big story point.
Yeah, Butcher and Hugh too have been injecting themselves with this thing called Temp V that Butcher got his hands on through May.
Yes.
What Temp V is, it's pretty much a concentrated dose of Compound V that gives you Soup's powers for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, do they call it Temp V or... I want to say 24. Maybe it's not. But yeah, it's 24 hours of superpowers with some wild side effects. It seemed like it lasted longer on Butcher than 24 hours, but maybe not. It was tough to tell the time.
Yeah.
But he definitely had some wonky side effects. Some I can't 100% control my powers. And it was kind of interesting because apparently we get to see what their superpowers would be. Butcher seemed to be kind of like a Homelander. So, powerful as fuck. And
Huey could teleport.
Yeah, Huey was
and have super strength.
Yeah.
And super strength because he punched a hole through it.
Well, was it actually super strength or was it just the momentum of the teleport? I wasn't 100% sure on that. It could be either or.
Super strength because there's a C.
Oh,
that's in the next episode.
Never mind.
But
then.
It's super strength. It's super strength.
We don't know about super strength yet, though, because you haven't seen it, right?
I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark and say that it's super strength.
An educated guess and say super strength.
Yes.
And of course, when the rest of the team sees Huey and Billy doing this stuff, they're like, "What the fuck?" And they're like, "Yeah, we took some Temp V."
Yeah, I'll say this. I even felt shame and guilt when Mother's Milk was like going, "You're better than this kid." And it's like, ouch, that even hurt me.
I do kind of feel sorry for Huey right now, though.
I do.
It's what he's going through is a unique situation. He is still with Starlight 100% throughout this. But there is this because publicly she's now with Homelander. Lots of news articles and stuff are coming out where it's like, Huey's getting cucked by Homelander, and it's like, and Huey's watching it because you can't help but watch stuff about yourself, but at the same time, it's like you need to stop. You need to stop. You mean, but I do feel sorry for him because I get it. Sometimes you just can't ignore the shit that's being directed at you, and that's part of why when he saw Billy with the Temp V, he was like, "Give me a shot," and I get it. Not the best call, but I get it. But yeah, I am interested to see how this season ends. I'm excited to talk about next week. So far, I'm really enjoying it, though.
I'm excited to dive into the rest of this.
Anything you want to talk about before we go ahead and close this out?
No, I mean I'm kind of like the look of Vought and this universe prior to The Boys.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying like the little look backs that we're getting every so often, and I hope that we get more of that as the series continues.
Yes, for
sure. How we had a Soldier Boy singing Blondie.
Yes. Oh my God, that was so bizarre. Boy, oh boy, he really nailed it too. It wasn't monotone at all.
Unrelated to The Boys. Some fun fact I did read that I forgot to mention about Thor and Love and Thunder. Did you know that they took a song off that soundtrack recently before release?
Oh, yeah. There was a talk about Running Up That Hill. I'm not going to lie. I'm not 100% sure how honest that is. I feel like it's him having some fun.
Yeah, I think it might be too.
Because it's also one of those things where it's like if I was in his position, I'd just leave it in there.
I would too, and just kind of like, catch the wave.
But the whole thing,
if you will.
Like, he talks about how it was supposed to be used with a dance scene with Gore and Thor. And I didn't realize those names rhymed before now. But anyways, it's like, I know Waititi's a goofy guy, but that really doesn't fit well with Gore's character at all.
If I could kind of see it maybe during some of that slow battle between the two of them.
Possibly. I don't know.
Right before, the final resolution. Maybe.
Maybe.
But maybe that's just because I saw a similar scene in Stranger Things, and that just makes me think that, it could work.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten that far in Stranger Things yet, but... Yeah. Well, I think
it's great.
When we get to season 5, I think we'll have to figure out a plan to cover the series, because we are rewatching the series from the beginning because it's been a while, and season 1 is so goddamn good. It's so...
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I kind of almost want to go back and rewatch it after finishing season 4, just to see if there's I guess, without giving a lot away, see if there's any clues that are obviously there in plain sight from the beginning. If that makes
doesn't
sense.
give anything away, because I'm so confused. But you know what? I don't want you to give
Okay,
anything
good.
away, so leave me confused.
I'm not. Other than just it's kind of like Game of Thrones in a way.
No.
Don't get attached.
Oh dear.
Don't get attached.
Well, we've already kind of split a lot of Thor: Love and Thunder. One of the complaints I saw about was actually something that kind of surprised me. Somebody said, I just saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and you know why I like Star Wars more than Marvel? It's because Star Wars isn't afraid to kill their characters. I was like, did you watch that movie? Did you not see what happened to Jane? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of didn't think Jane was going to make it out of that one.
No.
I will admit, I was a little like, what the fuck, when Korg got crumbled?
Yeah. They do kind of take that one
what
back,
the
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That felt kind of really out of
what
nowhere.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Like, are you...
You
but
can't
also,
just
I
kill
don't think
Korg like that. You can...
Yeah, I also don't think Taika's gonna take himself out of his own movie like that.
Yeah, well, if he is, he's gonna do something.
I mean,
a bit more
I
than
wouldn't.
That. It was so out of nowhere. It's like, oh shit. But
well, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't do it. So I'm not saying that he and I have a similar thought pattern, but I mean, I wouldn't do that.
So yeah, obviously spoiling the shit out of Thor, like we've already done. Like Natalie Portman always had a 3-movie contract, I believe.
Yeah.
So they brought her back for this one. And she's always talked about not liking the MCU. So yeah, she is written out at this movie. Which 100% makes sense.
They did kind of... Well, with her entering Valhalla, with her being Thor, and her technically dying in battle.
Yeah.
She died an honorable death.
Yeah.
So she was allowed to enter Valhalla, according to mythology. I think that's a great way to leave her there.
Yeah.
Like the character there, but that way, if they ever wish to, or she wishes to return or come back, she's just there in Valhalla.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they'll ever actually bring them back, because we do see
I doubt it.
Yeah, we see Heimdall there, and he welcomes her into Valhalla. It's a nice scene. It's cool.
Also,
to get
his
Idris
kid.
Elba. Yeah, his kid.
Also, his kid was a badass.
Yeah, his kid had some moments. Well, that's another thing. Like, the effects in that movie weren't great, because when his kid first appears as that face, it didn't look great, I have to say.
No.
But, like, the
it
kid
really
being like, hey, what was his name? Astrid? And then, I want to say Astrid.
No, Axel.
No. He's like Astrid. And then he's like, no, I want to go by Axel based on this band I really like.
The greatest band from Earth.
Yes.
Called Guns N' Roses.
It's like,
that's
not the name your father gave you.
Kid, you said that. Me in the theater. Kid, you said that wrong. It's called the Rolling Stones.
It's called Genesis. What are you talking about?
It's called the Rolling Stones.
What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know if I could call the Stones a band anymore, because it's like only 2 original members.
It happens lots of times with bands when they're around for a while.
Well, yes, I know that. I mean, at what point is it still the Stones and not just, Mick and Keith? And Ronnie.
Hey,
Ronnie's been there since the 70s.
Yeah,
so,
if they've been there for a while, yeah. It's still a band. Honestly, it's a band for as long as Mick and Keith want it to be a band, honestly.
As long as Mick does.
Yeah.
I don't think Keith gives a shit at this
That's
point.
true, I don't. But yeah, we are off the beaten path. But yeah, so next week, I just had it up here, obviously. Okay, so next week, we're concluding The Boys Season 3. We're concluding Miss Marvel Season 1. And we're going to go ahead and watch Predator 2. which is one I remember enjoying. But will I enjoy it on the rewatch?
Now, this is one I've never seen before, so...
Oh, have you not seen Predator 2?
No, I have not.
I remember enjoying it, but maybe the rewatch will not be kind to it.
I think I only watched the first one, and at one point I was going to be super gung-ho about watching all the Alien movies, and then I just kind of got stuck into watching those on repeat for a while. Yeah.
I would... Here's the interesting thing. I like the first two Alien movies probably better than any of the Predator movies. But I actually think Predator has more good movies than Aliens.
Okay.
Overall.
I think 3 is misunderstood.
Alien 3?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to dive into that at some point. I remember just being kind of bored by it.
Yeah, I get it, but like I feel it's a little misunderstood. My opinion.
Those are thoughts. Those are interesting thoughts I'd love to get into, but they're definitely for another episode.
Definitely.
But yes, we got the plan for next
Or if you
week.
want to see us dive into it soon, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we could probably kick it up. We got some blank slots coming up that will be getting filled quickly unless people start saying, hey, do this.
Yeah, or if there's something in particular that you would like for us to do, even like more music stuff, that would be cool too for us to dive into. I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to argue over like, you know, like, or even do more maybe top 10 rankings of our favorite bands and eras.
That'd be tough. My top 10 changes all the time.
Yeah, mine does too. Or like, you know, if we had to pick a decade. Ooh, maybe not decade. I think just maybe album release.
Yeah. Favorite decade of music. God, for me, it'd be like 70s or 80s. And it really depends on what mood I'm in.
Yeah, there was some great stuff in the late 60s that came out too.
Yes, well, late 60s I really felt led up into the 70s, which just damn good stuff in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s you get that synth stuff. And if you don't like the synth stuff, you're not going to be into 80s, but I love the synth stuff. So 80s.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I've noticed something with like a lot of other different like genres of music of recordings of that time period. Like I'd say the not as commercial stuff, the stuff that still is commercially successful, but not as commercial, like country music in particular. They have this sound and the mix of the drums that really makes it just sound like great and like just sharp. And I don't know, I just like it. I'm talking mostly about one song in particular I'm talking about, and that's like The Highwaymen. Because I don't know, the mix of the drums on that song. I heard that song recently, and for some reason I just got hyper focused on the drum sounds, and they were just so great. Well, I mean, also it's like, you know, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Merle Haggard, and Johnny Cash. So like all great singer and storytellers.
Oh, I've not heard of them before. No. Are they new? Are they new?
Well, I have an interesting story about one of them.
I'm sure all of them have interesting stories.
Well,
at this point
this one's about Willie Nelson.
Okay.
And as far as I know, this story is true.
Was he the one in the Blade movies?
I think.
Yeah, sure.
So he was playing some courthouse in Texas, right? And like this is like one of those old Texan, you know, big high ceilings and fans and windows open on the night because they're hot summer nights, you know. But people were smoking cigarettes and cigars all freely in there, just all like crazy. Willie's up there playing a show, and he goes to his pack of Luckies, and he goes to pull a cigarette out, but he pulls a joint out.
Oops.
By the time it's like all the way up to his lips, he realizes what it is, and he kind of looks up at his audience, and it's a bunch of sheriffs and judges, DAs, like he's playing to a room full of them, and he just figures, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
Lights
Come
up.
get me. Come get me.
Nothing really happens of it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of more of just like in the moment realization.
Yeah.
But also, you know, it's Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really want to hit right now.
he came to town years ago, and he opened up for John Fogerty, and I went to see him. And a couple of days after he came into town, he made the news for his bus getting pulled over, or outside the Capitol, and they found a bunch of pot and mushrooms. And my reaction to reading that, going, I mean, it's Willie Nelson. He's harmless.
Yeah.
Like, so what? He has a bunch of mushrooms and pot.
Yeah.
It's Willie Nelson. Are you fucking surprised? I mean, asking him if there's any drugs in his vehicle is kind of like going to Tommy Chon's house and asking, are there any drugs in the house?
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm Tommy Chong, man. I'm
yeah. Which is the actual exchange when the DEA came to Tommy's house when they arrested him for selling bombs.
Yeah. Any bongs in the house?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, he got arrested for selling bombs.
I'm Tommy Chong. I'm Tommy.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm Tommy Chong.
Yeah. You may have heard of me. I've done a couple movies. I've done a couple.
I have a few comedy albums, sir.
I had a role on That 70s Show for a short period.
I have a comedy partner. He was on Nash Bridges.
Yeah. But yes, next week, Predator 2, Miss Marvel, and The Boys. We'll see everybody next week. The Boys.
Take care.
I want to go ahead and add some audio credits at the end here. The theme music you're hearing at the beginning and end of this podcast was written and performed by George Johnson, a very good friend of mine. And my current Patreons are Fel Martins, David Lara, and Lindsay Pankhurst. If you'd like to become a patron, go ahead and follow the link down below. Anything you can provide would be incredibly helpful to this channel. We're barely limping by right now. I'd love to make this my full-time job. I'm miles away from that right now. So any help you could provide, just $1 a month would be amazing. You know you want to. All your friends are doing it. That was fun. Yes, I love the free screen.